How are you?
This
I'm good,
meeting
thanks.
is
How are
being
you?
recorded.
That's good. I'm also really good. You're in your clinic or?
No, working from home
Okay, paperwork.
and meetings all day.
So that's good. You notice, what she notices, that the prospect is like not in the clinic at home. She's trying to make conversation, trying to kind of break the ice, ease the tension. This is good. It's not like this fake rapport building that people often do. Like, hey, how are you? How was your day? It's like at least something relevant to what's happening actually in the moment. So that's good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And actually,
sounds-
I was just writing down, okay, so you're with
And immediately what happens here is the prospect tries to bulldoze the salesperson. And watch what happens here.
Injectable Boost because
Yes.
I've had several meetings today and
So the salesperson that we're reacting to here, she was like trying to say something, and immediately the prospect's like, okay, so hang on a minute, you are from this way. Where are you from? What business are you? Because I've had loads of meetings today. The salesperson here is losing control. She's allowing the prospect to like bulldoze her way through. Let's see how she handles this.
you'll have to remind me exactly what your company does.
Absolutely. So I'm Liv from Injectables. That's right. We get you more clients. Bottom line, that's what we do. So we're not going to be helping you grow your social media or get followers, anything fluffy like that, but get more paying clients. And we specialize in injectables like Botox.
So right away, what's happened there again is the prospect has taken control of the conversation. The prospect is now directing the conversation, and the salesperson we're reacting to is playing into their game, playing into their needs, playing into their wants, which is not good at the beginning of the sales call. You want to make sure you have absolute control at the beginning of the sales call and throughout the sales call, but the beginning is where you really, really solidify it. And another mistake that the salesperson made here is they said, yeah, so we're this company and we basically get you more clients and we don't do this and that and that and that. They overshared, saying too much. She should have just cut it short and said, oh yeah, so we're XYZ company and we essentially help you get XYZ result. And then shut it and then finish it right there. Or say, we help you get XYZ result. So with that being said, and then from there, what you want to do is set the frame of the sales call and take back control. But oversharing like this is typically a sign of weakness, nervousness, and the prospect, whether or not they realize it or not, the prospect will sense that. And again, the prospect is now in control of the conversation, which is definitely not what you want.
Fillers and medical weight loss.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
Those are all things I'm doing. So our primary focus is
And there, again, the salesperson is not taking control. She's like, okay, great, that's what you guys do. So, okay, so and again, I sound like a broken record here, guys, and maybe you've clicked off by now because I keep repeating myself, but this is so important. This is so, so, so important. You cannot let the prospect take control of the sales call. You have to be the leader. You have to be in control. Believe me.
medical weight loss. We currently do semaglutide and tirzepatide, and I'm just expanding into a full service med spa to do Botox and fillers and IV hydration.
Okay, nice. So what's going on right now? Are you expanding, getting a new location, or what are you working on?
No, just expanding within our current building, opened up another room.
Okay, nice.
But my primary focus is the medical weight loss.
Yep. Okay. How are you?
And
Are you getting clients for that?
Very interesting that the salesperson tries to get a question in. They go, so how are you? And then the prospect keeps talking. And instead of just taking the loss and stopping what they're saying, the salesperson goes, so how are you getting clients? Did you guys see that? Rewind if you have to see it again, hear it again. Salesperson goes, so how are you getting clients? Pure weakness, pure, like I'm being very hard on the salesperson here, but with good reason. This will really help them and really help anyone watching this. If you're asking a question or trying to say something and the prospect or the other person keeps talking, you have one of two choices. You either stop immediately and you maybe even make a hand gesture such as, oh, please keep talking, my apologies. Or you finish your sentence or your question the same way you started it. So if you started it confidently, so how are you getting clients then? Keep it the same. Never, ever, ever trail off. Again, it's pure weakness. You guys may think the prospect doesn't notice this kind of stuff, but they do, and they definitely do subconsciously. And this is what sets the tone for the entire interaction. The whole dynamic here is prospect can control, salesperson's just kind of along for the ride. It has to be the other way around.
Well, so I've been open about a year and 3 months. I spent thousands of dollars a month on advertising agencies within my first 8 months of being open, and none of them really panned out. I ended up paying more in marketing than I was getting patients. So I stopped probably about 4 months ago, and I've just kind of been doing my own advertising, but I want to look back into doing some like significant advertising.
Yeah. Okay. And something that hopefully gets you results and not just money out and nothing in.
Yes. And so the programs I used before used the go high level and then lead.
Okay, so this is okay. The way the salesperson responded to that was good. She's like, okay, and so something that gets you results and not just wasting a bunch of money, that's good. It shows you empathize and understand people's pains and all this kind of stuff. Fantastic. The big problem here is we're basically in discovery and there's been no agenda set. There's been no framing of the call. So for those of you unfamiliar, framing the call is essentially when you tell the prospect what is about to happen on the call, so that, again, you show your leadership, you show that you're in control, and the prospect is okay with following your agenda. So you would say to them, look, I'm going to see if we'd be a good fit to work together or not, ask you some questions, find out some information. If from there I can tell that you're a good fit, I'll tell you all about our product, program, service, whatever it is. But you have to frame the call like that so that the prospect knows what to expect, so that when you start asking questions which are a little bit more intrusive or a little bit more, they get the prospect to reveal some slightly more intimate details about their business or personal lives, they're okay with it because, again, they know why you're asking it. And also, again, framing the call is you're taking control, you're showing your leadership. Really, really important. And this hasn't happened here.
Leads would come in and we'd follow up with hundreds of people every day, and most of them would answer. And it just was a waste of time and money, I felt like.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
curious to see how your marketing agency works, what you guys do.
Yeah, of course.
Huge problem here. The screen is blurred, so maybe you guys don't see this, but I'll describe it to you. The prospect is like, so I'm curious to see what you guys can do. She stands up and she leaves the frame. Like I don't know where she's gone. And what's happening here is our salesperson is looking down, obviously, like most likely taking notes, and she's answering the prospect while she hasn't even looked back up at the screen. So our salesperson is now about to answer a pretty heavy hitting question, and the prospect isn't even there. Do you guys see what I mean? It's like the prospect stood up and she's gone out of frame. Maybe she's going to grab like something from her desk, or she's about to close the window, whatever it is. And now the prospect is answering her question. So she's essentially talking to nobody right now. Now, to you guys, this may not seem like a big deal, but believe me, it is. Like, when you talk to someone, it has to be with intention, and you have to make sure that what you're saying is being heard and absorbed and understood and internalized. And you can't do that when someone is distracted or the prospect is standing up, going and getting something else. And the reason why this has happened is because the salesperson is looking down instead of looking at the screen. Now, you do need to take notes. Fine, look down and take your notes if you have to. But when you're going to answer someone, make sure you look back up, because that's where you're going to pick up on these cues right here. Like, oh, wait a minute, the prospect isn't even on the screen anymore. She's gone to grab something. Why am I just talking into thin air? These things, guys, I'm being very picky, but with very, very good reason. They're super important. These are the things that really affect the dynamic of the interaction.
We don't have like a one size fits all, if I'm being honest with you. We only do, we can call it partnerships, because it is very tailored to each clinic that we work with.
And again, I apologize to everyone who's watching this if you're getting fed up of me pausing, but this is for everyone's benefit. The prospect says, you can see it on the screen here, okay, so I want to see how you guys actually, the transcription isn't perfect, but I want to see actually what you guys can do, why you're different, whatever. And immediately, the salesperson just starts answering the prospect's demand. Again, in sales, it's the other way around. When you want to actually close the prospect, you have to show that leadership, and the call, the interaction, has to follow your agenda. It has to be you making the statements or asking the questions and the prospect reacting to that, not the other way around. It can never be, especially at the beginning of the interaction, it can never be the prospect says stuff or asks questions and then you're immediately reactive. That's not how you establish yourself as an authority. You wouldn't walk into a doctor's office, the best cardiologist in your country. You wouldn't walk in there and start asking him questions, and then he would immediately be like, "Oh yeah, so here's how that works." And blah, 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 blah. No, you'd walk in. He's busy. He's like, "Okay, Lucian, sit down. Tell me about this. Do you feel pain here? What's happened? Okay, stand up. Let me check you out." They're taking control of the interaction because they're the authority. When you don't do that, bad things happen, just like we're going to see in the sales call.
Spending more money on ads. But we have a very in-depth qualification system so that you don't just get leads, but you get.
Our salesperson is now at 3 minutes in is essentially pitching their service. Like the salesperson probably doesn't realize she's done this, but she's essentially pitching her service at 3 minutes in. She's trying to prove immediately that her agency is the best agency.
Clients that are actually spending money. Which
Perfect.
is the only thing that matters. Yeah.
So you guys maybe can't see this because it's blurred, okay? The prospect is literally applying lipstick. I wish I could unblur this for you guys. I'm going to maybe turn the blurring down so you can see it. The prospect has a little mirror and she's applying lipstick. And you're telling the prospect how amazing your agency is. Do you think the prospect is really engaged and really focused? This is pure disrespect on the prospect side, and the prospect is getting away with it. You can't disrespect an authority figure and get away with it, can you? And for those of you wondering, why am I talking about authority figures, all this kind of stuff, it's because in sales, you have to be the authority figure. You have to be the leader. People don't buy from people that they perceive as being lower status or having no authority. People want to buy from experts. People want to buy from high status individuals and businesses. And so what's happening right now is terrible. If it were me and I have a prospect applying their flipping makeup, I'm ending the call. I'm saying, "Hey, look, it looks like you're not really engaged here. We can just reschedule if you're busy." Like immediately end it right there.
But I can go ahead and show you that. I guess
Yeah.
For you, what is the main thing right now? Is that to get more people in, or is it also to improve like retention, upselling, stuff like that?
No, just to get more people in.
Okay.
I would like to double it within the next couple months. Right now I have about 70 clients that are recurring that come back every month, and I would like to grow to like 140 a month.
And is that with you only, or do we have staff?
No, I have staff.
Okay, how many?
I have 2. I have 2 medical assistants that are in there seeing all the patients.
Nice. I'm just curious now, what is your goal behind it? Is it to like remove yourself completely when you get really busy, or?
Yes, so I want to be the CEO, business owner who's running the business.
Okay, so this is good. We're getting back to a proper bit of discovery. The salesperson is asking what her goal is, basically. The prospect is now telling her, so that's good.
While I have the girls in there in office seeing the patients, doing the day-to-day grind. So I want to be able to just run the business as my primary focus and have other people in there like working.
Okay. Do you know, maybe it's a hard question, but do you know how many clients you would need to get to that point?
Pretty good question, because it can make the goal like a little bit more tangible and you can start to build a plan around it. So if she knows she needs 100 clients a week or whatever to get there, then during your pitch and all that kind of stuff, you can show her how she can actually get to 100 clients. And then she knows, okay, when I get to 100 clients, I'll get my ultimate sort of more less tangible goal of being the CEO or whatever. So that's a pretty good question.
I mean, already I'm not having to be in the clinic that much.
Okay.
And so now I'm in a point where I can work on growing and expanding the business and do that. So now I just want to be able to reach my goal as far as like how many patients come in.
Okay.
Because before it was just like I was trying to run the business, also take care of patient management, be in the office, like wearing too many hats. So now I can just focus on running the business.
Okay, I'll give you guys a really, really important tip here. When the prospect when the prospect says a certain phrase or sentence or word which isn't very common in like your day-to-day life, the prospect right there said, I was wearing too many hats. You see how that's not a phrase you would use every single day in every scenario, right? Like, it's not like, hey, what's up, right? It's like a phrase it has a purpose, and not everyone's going to say it. People might say that thing in a different way. I was wearing too many hats. Whenever the prospect says anything like that, remember that, write it down if you have to, and repeat those things back to them. I won't dive into the psychology now because this video would be 4 hours long if I did this for every single point. But believe me, those are the things which really, really help your prospect open up and connect with you, because subconsciously they're like, oh, wow, this person speaks my language. So I'll give you guys an example. The prospect says, yeah, and you know what? I was just wearing too many hats, Lucian. Oh, so you were wearing too many hats, so you were doing too many things, and it was just like overwhelming, right? Yeah, Lucian, exactly. And then a little bit later on, I'm like, okay, Mr. Prospect, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to help you make it so that you will never have to wear too many hats ever again, and X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Those moments right there, so key, because the prospect is like, wow, this person, Lucian, the salesperson, whoever it is, they're speaking my language. And subconsciously, the impact of that is incredibly profound. So look out for those kind of more niche sentences, I guess, and repeat them back to the prospect multiple times during the sales call. The impact will be amazing. It will really help you connect with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I guess when you've gotten to this point of 70 recurring clients per month, is that via word of mouth, advertising as well, or what's the main source?
Well, so it was advertising. It was a lot of it's referrals. A lot of people will see our sidewalk sign in the downtown area. Also, I do some advertising on Yelp. So people are finding us on Google and Yelp, as well as patient referrals right now.
Okay, that sounds good. Mm-hmm. Could you just double down on that, or do you feel like you need something external completely different?
Well, those are just bringing in like maybe 2 new patients a week through all that.
Okay.
So, and I'd like to be bringing in like 6.
So this is actually really good. I really like this. I may have taught this salesperson how to do this, maybe, or maybe they learned it somewhere else because they did some training with me in the past. But really good question to say, like, so what you're doing right now, couldn't you just do more of it? Really good, because then the prospect, most of the time, they're going to be like, no, actually, it's tough to double down, or it's, it's whatever. And now you're getting the prospect to doubt the fact that what they're currently doing is like the right thing or enough. And the prospect is essentially saying, without saying it, they're saying, we need help, we need something new, which is fantastic. That's what you want the prospect to say and feel internally. They're like, oh yeah, we really need something new to help us out. We can't just do more of what we currently need, like what we currently do, because it's not going to get us what we need or want. So really, really good way here of constructing this, like, we call these doubt creation questions and doubt creation scenarios. We're getting the prospect to doubt the fact that they can solve this problem by themselves. And now they're like, okay, we need an expert, we need an agency, we need someone to help us out. So really, really good here.
6 to 8 needs, or like 6 patients a week new, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So basically just having more volume. Mm-hmm. When you mentioned that you've been speaking to probably a lot of different companies, and I can imagine it's really difficult figuring out who to go with when you've had not so good experiences before. What are you kind of looking for now? Because I imagine it not being the most easy thing.
I'm just looking for someone to do marketing that brings.
So I was a fan of how she set up the question with those statements, because it shows like a level of understanding and empathy. So she's like, trying to choose a company is difficult because maybe you've been burnt in the past. That's good. I'm not a big fan of the question, because it's like, so what are you looking for? Well, it's kind of obvious. Just a service that works, that's reliable, that's cost effective, that's not a headache, right? I'd maybe skip over that question and go for something a bit different.
Then paying customers.
I would maybe, instead of asking that question, lay it up as like a statement and then say, is that right? So I would have probably said, so I know it can be difficult to choose an agency, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I assume that what you're really just looking for is an agency that you can partner with that's going to bring you incredible results in a way that's cost effective and hassle free. Is that right? So you're making a statement right there to show them you understand what their needs are. You're reading their mind, and then you're going, is that right? And they're like, yes, Lucian, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I want. That right there is way more powerful than just asking the question, because it shows the prospect you understand them and you're like reading their mind almost, which again, I won't go into the psychology, but really, really important to build that trust and that connection and get them to see you as an authority figure that has lots of experience in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So whatever that means, I don't know much about marketing. So just somebody who knows it well and can do it well.
Okay, fair enough. That's totally fair.
And just so you know, I have to leave 12:30. I'm sorry, 1:30 my time for an appointment, but I don't know how long this meeting usually lasts, but
sometimes, I'll be honest, it can go up to like an hour, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
So we have 15 more minutes or so.
Another thing I recommend you guys do is at the beginning of your sales call, if you're meeting with if you're selling B2C, so like if you're an online coach selling to just normal people, so B2C or B2B, but kind of like, I don't want to be rude here, but these like half-assed entrepreneurs that like run beauty clinics or like hair salons, right? If you're in the industry, the agency space, you know what I mean, right? You're not talking to like a CEO of like a serious company. You're talking to like a half-assed entrepreneur. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. They're doing amazing, whatever. I'm not trying to be offensive, but B2C or these kind of smaller entrepreneurs, you really, really want to do a timing check at the beginning of your sales call. Be like, hey, by the way, I've got this booked in for the next 60 minutes. Does that work for you? Because a lot of the times, people will like accept the meeting and then they'll also double book something on their calendar, and then I gotta go and pick up the kids, whatever, because again, they're not treating it like a serious business and they're not respecting their calendar. So it's really, really important if you sell B2C or to these smaller businesses. Unfortunately, you do have to like expect the fact that they won't respect the time frame of the sales call. So just check at the beginning of the sales call if they're going to be free for the next 30 or 60 minutes.
So, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see what we can do. I'll walk you through a few different things, because one of the first things that you told me was, how you got a lot of leads, but the conversion rate was very low from what I hear.
Okay, so what's happening here is 8 minutes in, the salesperson is pitching. They're sharing their screen. They're about to run through something. From having sold a bunch of stuff for a lot of money, very reliably myself personally, and having trained a lot of people, I'll tell you right now, in 99.9% of the cases, a 8-minute long discovery phase is not enough. It just isn't enough to really get to the bottom of what someone actually truly wants, why they want to achieve it, why their current situation is so bad, why they want to get to their desired outcome, what are the things they're scared about, what are the roadblocks and problems and mental challenges they're having regarding potentially implementing a solution, what have they done in the past, all this kind of stuff. 8 minutes is just not enough. And on top of that, there's been no easy, smooth transition into the pitch. There's been no, oh, look, Mr. Prospect, you'd be an amazing fit. What I can do for you right now, if it's okay with you, is share my screen and walk you through our exact solution, XYZ, whatever, blah, 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 that's going to help you solve this problem you have and achieve this very specific insert desired outcome that you want right here. Would you like me to now show you that, Mr. Prospect? There's been none of that really here. So that's really, really important to transition into the pitch and get the prospect to agree to you pitching them. Be like, so would you like me to run you through that now? Really, really important. Unfortunately, the salesperson hasn't done this here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is unfortunately what we see happening so often right now, where med spas, aesthetic clinics, they're working with these agencies who are putting up ads for you, which in itself, that's awesome. That's incredible because ads are good at getting people through the door also. But the problem is that very often they are just going to be targeting everyone. So not even the people that necessarily need your services or can afford them. And then they go ahead.
So this is good, actually. Irrespective of what I said before, you should still do what I just said when I paused it last time. But this, in an isolated environment, is very good because what the salesperson is doing here is showing the prospect the typical mistakes other agencies make when they're generating leads. And she's describing it in detail. She's saying why it's so bad, all this kind of stuff. She's saying, they just run a Facebook ad and then text the lead. That's it. That's bad because of X, Y, Z reasons. And the ultimate, the ultimate problem is that you don't get the results you're hoping for. So this is really, really good. It shows a level of awareness for the marketplace. Really, really good to do this.
They get these people's information by using auto-filled forms. So you know how busy people are scrolling through social media these days. Basically, when people are clicking on your ad, automatically all of their information is just filled out and submitted. And this can be outdated information. So when you or whoever goes to call these people to get them booked in because they signed up, they don't pick up the phone. Maybe they tell you that I haven't signed up for this, take me off your list or whatever. And it's so hard to convert these people. So when we use ads, which we do because it's awesome, we first of all want to make sure to do targeted ads to target your ideal clients. So we will be building out.
And so now essentially she's pitching. She's shown the typical problem or the typical mistake all other agencies make. Now she's showing how they do it better.
Whole client avatar together with you. That's not enough, obviously. So we will also be filtering out any discount hunters, Groupon people, if you feel like you've been struggling with that, that people you do get in are highly motivated.
Okay.
All this happens in a very in-depth process. So we start from the ad, where we only use something called manual forms in combination with funnels. That overall means that we get every single person's correct information, so we can actually get in contact with them, and they will be expecting to be contacted to get booked in. After that manual form, they get redirected to a landing page that we filled out for you, where they're going to book an appointment, because that is what it's optimized for. So the majority of leads are actually going to book an appointment right there on the ad, so that you don't have to chase down leads and hope for them to book an appointment.
Okay.
For those that don't book right away, it's actually okay because we've got such a strong follow-up system in the back end with real people calling, contacting them, a personalized AI also getting in touch with them and getting them booked in, so that in the end of the day, we're not losing out on anyone. This is really just maybe 40% of what we do, because of course the quality of the people also stems from what kind of ad you do, what kind of offer, how you're positioning yourself in the market. I'm sure you know that already, but instead of doing crazy discounts like 50% off and whatnot all the time, it's okay, but we instead want to be focusing on promoting you in a way that makes you stand out. So you're not just going to be looking like another person doing weight loss, semaglutide, or Botox or fillers like everyone else, And we do that by creating what we call golden offers. That's also not enough.
Okay, so she's pitching here, obviously, right? And I've been letting it play and fast forwarding. The real problem that I see immediately here is she's just talking and when I say she, I mean the salesperson. She's talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and never asking the prospect, hey, does this make sense? Do you see what I'm talking about here? Would you like me to run you through exactly how this works? Do you have any questions about this? She's not creating or establishing any clarity. She's not doing any tie downs. This is a big problem. She's just talking and talking and talking. Let's see. From the transcript, I can see she probably stops soon. But at this point, what's happening is she's overwhelming the prospect with a bunch of information. Let's see how it plays out. Maybe I'm wrong.
So we combine the golden offers with really strong copy and visuals, so that when people see all of this combined, it engages them, it makes you stand out, and it makes people excited to go in and book an appointment with you, which is why the conversion rates that we have on the funnels are really, really high.
Okay. The problem I see with what she just said, she said, we combine the golden offers, I think, with the copy and the funnels, and that's why our conversion rates are so high. Here's the problem. Anyone could say those words. First of all, you don't even know if the prospect understands each of those things. Does the prospect know what a golden offer is, or what copy is, or what a funnel is? Do they understand what those things are? And second of all, you're just saying that. You're not backing up your claims. You're not explaining why the offers you create are golden offers. You're not explaining why the copy you write is the best copy in the world. You're not explaining why your funnels are fantastic. You're not explaining or showing any of these points right here. So why should someone believe you? Do you guys see what I mean? Sometimes you can deliver that message right there with pure conviction. And if you've got good rapport and a good connection with the prospect, and the prospect already sees you as an authority figure from the discovery phase, then maybe just saying those things, you'll get away with it and the prospect will believe you. But with the way this sales call has gone so far, there is no chance that the prospect is just like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is just what I want. There's no chance of that happening because you haven't shown it. And there's no reason for the prospect to believe you. Or when I say you, I mean the salesperson.
Am I getting too technical?
No, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. What kind of questions do you have?
Good. So saying what kind of questions you have is good. Instead of saying, do you have any questions? You never want to say, do you have any questions? You want to say, what kind of questions you have, or what questions do you have about what I just mentioned here, or specifically what I just mentioned. Good. You're giving the prospect permission and encouraging them to ask questions. For those of you wondering, why do you want your prospect to ask questions during your pitch? It's because you want the prospect to have absolute clarity regarding every single thing that's going to be important to them making a decision. And a big part of that is, how does your product or service work? Like, how do you guys actually work? What do you do? Why am I going to get these amazing results you're promising me? And if the prospect is asking questions, they may be asking something they're unsure about. They're like, well, how does the AI qualification actually work? And then you're like, great question. Let me run you through that. When you do that, that builds clarity. Okay, so that's why during your pitch, guys, you want the prospect to ask as many questions as possible. You want to iron out and get rid of any uncertainties and create clarity.
So yeah, I'm familiar kind of with that process. So you guys create the ads, you create your own like landing page for them to follow up, and then they book their own appointments.
Yes.
And then, yeah, so who follows up with the leads?
That's
like, do you guys, yeah, how does that work?
It actually depends on you. That's why, again, it's all very tailored. And if you have time to get in touch with the leads, or someone on your team does, that's awesome, you can do it. If not, then we will have calls.
Big problem right here. And now I'm really going to illustrate why an 8-minute discovery phase is not enough. Prospect asks, so how does this whole following up on the leads work? Salesperson answers, well, it depends. If you have enough time to do it yourself, you do it yourself. If not, we can do it for you. You should never have to give that kind of answer during the pitch, because as the salesperson, you should already know the prospect's preference to that question, to that option. You should already know if the prospect has enough time and is willing to answer the leads themselves or not. You should know that in the discovery phase, or at least you should have a pretty good guess. Like, if the prospect in the discovery phase is like, oh my God, I'm so busy, I'm so done with all this kind of stuff, I just want someone to completely take it over. Then in the pitch, when that question happens, when they say, so how does the following up work? You go, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of you. You don't have to lift a finger. Do you guys see what I mean? Do you see why the discovery phase is so important, so fundamental? Because now the prospect is left scratching their head. Now they have to make a decision like, should I follow up myself? Oh, I'm not sure. Wait, what? Why do I have these two? The more options you give someone, the more difficult it's going to be for them to actually come to a conclusion, to make a decision. And that's ultimately what you want in sales, a decision, yes or no, or like, let's reschedule and do another call. So I hope all of you now see why I was being so pedantic and pausing every 2 seconds and saying why the discovery phase isn't long enough. Because now we have a real example of what happens when you don't go deep enough in the discovery phase.
Callers getting in touch with the lead and booking them in.
Okay.
What's your thoughts about that?
Do you guys use Go High Level?
Salesperson says, what are your thoughts about that? The prospect just completely ignores the question and asks another question. Again, these things only happen when the prospect doesn't see you as being high status or an authority. Believe me, everyone believe me, okay? I've watched a bunch of sales calls, sold a bunch of stuff, trained a bunch of people. When someone sees you as an authority, they will not just ignore one of your questions and then ask their own question. They will never do that. They will respect you and the situation too much to do that. So if someone sees you as an authority figure and you ask them a question, believe me, they're stopping what they're saying and they're answering your question. But as we just saw, the salesperson asked a question, prospect acted like they didn't even hear it and just moved on.
Level, or what's your service platform?
It depends. We use high level.
It's not a good way to answer the question. The prospect says, what platform, what software do you guys use? And the salesperson answers, That's not the way you guys want to answer these questions, believe me. That doesn't convey any confidence, does it? That doesn't convey that you're excited about this. That doesn't convey that you know what you're talking about and you're sharp and you're on the ball. Answering someone like, well, believe me, guys, that is not the way you want to answer these kind of questions. That doesn't convey any confidence.
Like 75% of times, but for funnels, we use ClickFunnels most of the time. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And you can see the prospect now matching the energy. She's like, oh, okay, well, yeah. Which again, like, there's nothing here. There's nothing happening here. I don't know how to describe this to you guys. There's no connection being formed. There's no excitement. There's no conviction. There's no confidence. There's no passion. There's no like, okay, oh, this is maybe the right thing for us. Actually, okay, yeah, let's keep talking. There's none of that. It just feels a bit dry and a bit kind of like they're just trying to fill up the time.
So yeah, it sounds like that's kind of the process I've used before. We don't have time for following up with leads, so I'd be interested in something where you guys follow up with the leads.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I appreciate the transparency about that because it is really important, of course, to get in touch with them. Otherwise, it's just going to be leads, no appointments, and that doesn't matter. So 100% we can do that. In that case, we will be placing, depending on how much ad spend you want to be using, 1 or 2 callers. So instantly call everyone within the first 5 minutes. And of course, continuously following up on them and getting more and more booked over time. Now, with all of this, it's just one part of the system, because then once you do start to get more clients in, we also have some pretty amazing systems for client retention, getting them to come back, getting them to refer friends and family, leave more reviews, all that good stuff. Plus, we have a coaching aspect where we work with what is probably just going to be your staff on how to get even better at selling, upselling people, cross-selling, getting them come back.
So now essentially she's pitching more features, I guess, benefits of her service.
All of that good stuff, so that the whole sales process gets even better and you make more money with the clinic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm just curious what your guys' pricing is like.
Absolutely.
And the prospect just doesn't care at this point. Like, salesperson says a bunch of stuff which should be super relevant and super important and get the prospect super excited, but the message was delivered wrong. And the prospect is just like, okay, yeah, so how much do you guys cost? I promise you guys, when this happens on your sales calls, you may as well just end the call right there. Believe me, this right here, I've never seen this scenario lead to a successful close. Never in my life have I seen you're talking, you're trying to explain the benefits of your thing, whatever, and the prospect goes, okay, yeah, whatever, what's the price? I've never seen that result positively, ever.
We can go through that. Let me just pull it up on my screen, because there's going to be 2 parts to it. There's the ad spend and then our fee, as I'm sure you already know.
Okay, one bit of psychology here is whenever you're talking about pricing or what someone has to do or the resources they have to let go of or exchange in order to get something new, you want to compress and condense that as much as possible. What do I mean? You want to avoid saying, so yeah, you've got to pay us and the ads. Even though that's the reality, just saying it that way will make it seem like more than it is, because they're like, oh, I've got to pay for this and this. Do you guys see what I mean here? It's just be careful the way you phrase things. Like, you've got to pay for this and this. Be very, very careful.
Before I go ahead and share here, do you feel like this would be beneficial, or is
Good. She's trying to save it here, the saleswoman. So she's like, just before I show you the pricing, like, do you actually feel like this would be the right kind of thing for you? Good. I'm very happy she hasn't just like jumped straight into the pricing yet.
Shoot, I'm gonna go into something like I tried before. It was awful.
I mean, I'm definitely hesitant, but I know I do need to do marketing, and I don't have the time to do it on my own. So, yeah, I'm just kind of curious what the pricing is and go from there, I guess.
Yeah.
That is not an hyper interested prospect or a hyper confident prospect. And what you need to do as the salesperson here, well, let's keep playing for a second.
That's totally fair. Okay. Well, let's go through.
This is where the sales call has been lost right there. That moment right there is where everything has fallen apart and everything has been lost. If the prospect says to you, yeah, but I'm just a bit hesitant, but I know I need to do something like this. What's your price? The only acceptable answer as a salesperson is saying, hesitant? But what's making you hesitant? You cannot have a prospect say they're hesitant and then just skip over that and then show them the pricing. Why would they buy from you if they're hesitant? Do you guys see what I mean here? I hope I'm not coming across insane. Like, why would you go to the pricing at that point? So the correct thing to do there is obviously listen very closely. And the prospect says, I'm hesitant. Bang, that word is locked in your mind now. Hesitant. Okay, the prospect finishes the sentence. And you could mirror the prospect here if you want. You could say, hesitant? Like, what do you mean? So just mirror back the word they said. They could say, I'm unsure. They could say something, just, I'm not sure about what. Just repeat back what the prospect has said. You're hesitant? In what way are you hesitant? And there they're going to start to reveal to you some objections or things they're unclear about, or some of the reasons why your offering seems similar to other people's and why it's just not that appealing to them. But you've got to dig, you've got to get to the bottom of that. You can't just then go, yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, well, let me show you the pricing. That right there, what we just watched, everyone, like when I paused it, that right there is where everything was lost.
Through it, we have this right here. 2 parts to it: monthly ad spend and hour fee. For ad spend, it depends obviously on your budget. We recommend $45 a day for optimal results. That comes out to around $1,350 a month. And then you might be thinking, okay, but what can I actually get out of that? And you mentioned that you really want to be focusing on the weight loss. Our cost per appointment for weight loss lies around 26 to 37 US dollars. That means on average, you would be having an additional 45 booked appointments per month with weight loss.
She's just running through the pricing now. And again, we can keep watching some of this. I may end the video here because that was like the real crucial point, but we'll keep watching.
Spend.
Okay, and then when you say booked appointments, is that people who are booking just to get more information? Or are those people who have already been given the information?
So again, now the prospect is asking a question. She's like, well, what does a booked appointment actually mean? These things got to be covered in the pitch. You've got to make sure everything is crystal clear, absolutely 100% crystal clear before you get to the point where you show the pricing.
And the pricing and everything, and they say, yes, I want to come in and make an appointment.
The latter. They get booked in. It can be for a consultation though, of course.
Okay. Yeah, because they would have to have a phone consultation first to screen them, which I guess when you guys...
And now there's confusion here. Let me tell all of you why you want to separate these kind of things. When someone has confusion and they're unsure about something and they have a question, you want to handle all of that, absolutely everything possible before getting to the price. The reason you do that is because you don't want someone to then see the price and be like, oh, actually, no, I'm not sure about this. I'm gone. Because that will happen. If someone sees your price and it's slightly outside of their comfort zone, it's like, I don't know, $2,500 per month. They'll be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, it's just, I'm unsure about this and the price is too high, whatever. Bang, bang, I'm gone. But if someone truly likes your product or service and they truly think that your product or service will help them get to their desired outcome, like they're convicted, they fully trust you, they're fully confident that your thing will help them, they will then in their own mind justify the price and find a way to make the price work, even if it's outside of their budget. Believe me, I've sold a bunch of things to a bunch of people who initially I could tell wouldn't be able to afford it. But when you show someone that this will truly change their life or their business, they'll find the money to pay for it. Believe me. So that's why before you get to the pricing, make sure someone absolutely loves what you've got to offer. And they truly 100% believe that what you're offering will help them get to their very specific desired outcome. You must do that before getting to the pricing.
Guys do your calls, when you call them back, are you guys able to give them our pricing and like just go over a few things to rule them out to see if they're even a candidate?
Yes. We will
Okay,
also be qualifying them in the funnel, and also when they book an appointment. Because of
Okay.
course, with weight loss, there are certain criteria that if they don't meet it, well, we can't really do anything. So yeah, we will
Right.
qualify them beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Is that all clear?
Yeah. Mhm.
Amazing. Okay, so for our management and success fee, I do have two different options actually, where the first plan number one here is a flat monthly fee, 2K per month, nothing per client or anything like that. On the other hand, we have plan number two, which is a one-time investment of $4,900. Everything that comes after that is a pay per client that shows up of $70. That's the
So here she's just running through the two different pricing options.
difference between the two plans.
Okay. For each client that's booked.
Shows up.
Okay, that shows up. Okay, so and the 49, there's no time frame expiration on that or anything.
You can work with us for 5 or 10 years. It'll still only be one time.
Okay. Okay, so it's either 2,000 a month ongoing or 4,900 one time, and then after that, 70. You guys get a $70 cut for each client that actually shows up in the office.
You're right.
Okay, and that includes the plan where you guys are following up on all the leads?
Yep. All right.
Okay. All right. And then is there any type of minimum guarantee just so that I feel like at least I'm covering my expenses or anything like that?
I understand why you're asking that. Just to be honest, I do like to be a little bit pessimistic about it, just to be on the safe side, but we will be able to get you a minimum of 60 clients showing up in 90 days. If we don't hit that for whatever weird reason, then we'd keep on working with you at no additional cost until we do. In the end of the day, it's really only a win for us if it is for you. So we want to have you stay around.
Prospect us if there's a guarantee. To be honest, I've seen worse ways of handling that question. Credit to her, the saleswoman answered this pretty well. It's okay. The way she did this was pretty good.
For as long as possible.
Okay. All right. And then what's the additional fee if I want to add on?
Really good. She didn't over talk. She didn't over explain why there's no money back guarantee. She's just look, I understand why, show the empathy. So I understand why you're asking that. Here's what we'll do, or here's what we do offer you though. If we don't get you these results in this time frame, we'll just keep working with you for free. And then she stopped talking. Really good.
Other services such as Botox and filler and that type of stuff.
Yeah, so we do include the 2 first initial campaigns in this price.
So I'm just going to go back a little bit. Let's just listen to this question the prospect asked.
Okay. All right. And then what's the additional fee if I want to add on other services such as Botox and filler and that type of stuff?
Yeah, so we do include the 2 first initial campaigns in this price. If you want to add on more as time goes by, it's $200 per new campaign, one-time fee for the setup.
Okay. And then you said, sorry, $200 for each additional?
Yep. I'll send you a recap with all these details. You can go back and review. Well, that's it, yeah.
Okay, so you probably want to avoid telling someone, I'll send you a recap so you can go back and look at all these details. You want to make sure that what you're saying is crystal clear. You want to be so here's what it is, Mr. Prospect. If you have a board like me, write it out on the board. If you don't, open a Google Doc, screen share. So it's $4,000 setup fee, $70 per appointment, and then next line. If you want to add a new service, whatever, I can't remember the term she used, the Botox, whatever, $200 per campaign. Does that make sense? Is that clear? I'll give you a second to write it down. Make it clear right now in front of them, because how can someone come to a decision if what you're saying to them isn't clear, especially when it comes to the money? How can the prospect make a decision by the end of this call if you need to send them a summary, need to send them something else? That then implies that they have to take that thing that you're sending them to make a decision. Do you guys see the problem here? Do you guys see why this is not a good idea to say that? You should make it crystal clear on the call itself so that by the end of the call, they can make a decision. And maybe they won't make a decision and then you book a follow-up call. But never say to someone, yeah, I'll send you all these pricing details later. Make it clear right there and then in the moment. Okay.
So just to break it down, ad spend, you guys recommend $45 a day. You guys market on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
Do you do any Google marketing as well, or just Facebook, Instagram?
We do have a few clinics where we do Google for them.
I'm sorry, but if after having done your pitch and your pricing and talking about details about the pricing, the prospect then says, so wait a minute, do you guys just run Google ads? And do you guys just run Facebook ads and Instagram ads? Or are you also going to do Google Ads for me? That's the kind of stuff that has to be covered in the pitch. Way before you get to this point right here, I hope all of you see why you must conduct your sales calls correctly, because otherwise they end up like an absolute mess, just like this one. You have to cover these details first. And then, when the prospect is fully on board, fully confident, fully emotionally invested and bought in, fully convicted that your thing is the right thing for them, then get to the pricing.
It's just typically, it's not something that I bring up or necessarily recommend, because you'll have to, right now, at least pay more to acquire a new client on Google compared to Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. All right. So basically you guys create the ads, you create this like funnel or like a...
The prospect still doesn't get it. We've already gone to the pricing, all the extra details about the pricing options, guarantees, all this kind of stuff. The prospect is still in their own mind trying to make sense of the service. This cannot happen, guys. This cannot happen. There is a complete lack of clarity on the prospect side right now. They're like, wait a minute, so how does this thing actually work?
Application.
This should never happen. You get to the price and the prospect should fully understand what you're talking about, exactly how it's going to work, exactly what's going to happen, exactly the results they can expect.
That they fill out. And then you guys follow up with them. You guys could talk with them, tell them about our services, our pricing, and then rule them out if they're not a candidate. And then if they say, yes, I'm interested, I'd like to schedule an appointment in the office, then you guys book them? Or do you like then send them to us to book? Or
we can book them onto your calendar. What booking system do you use?
I mean, so we have a Google Calendar as well as our CRM, which is called Clinic Suite.
Okay.
But it probably would be best to give access to our Google Calendar. Is that how you do it? Just
yeah, either the Google Calendar or...
Again, technical details being discussed here, which really do not matter. But if they matter to the prospect, they have to be covered during your pitch, at the end of the pitch, making sure it's all clear. Again, I'm sounding like a broken record here, kind of like I did at the beginning of this video. But you have to make sure the prospect has complete clarity and confidence in your solution before you get to the pricing.
We would just set up an API integration with your booking system so that everything will be synced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for new patients, we allot an hour time slot. So you guys would just look in there and see where there's an hour time slot that they could be fit in.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And then do you guys get any type of like credit card on file in case there are no shows that can be charged or anything like that?
Yeah, we would.
Again, questions that should be covered during the end of the pitch. She's asking, how do they prevent no-shows? This stuff has to be covered way before.
Definitely recommend that. So either a credit card on file or even a deposit upfront.
Okay. Okay. So the guarantee is minimum of 60 clients that show up in office in that first 90 days?
Yep.
Office. Okay. And then you guys probably are familiar with all like the keywords that can't be used just so that...
Okay. If someone says, if the prospect says, oh, I'm sure you guys are familiar, right, with like the keywords you can't use unless the campaigns get shut down. What has just happened right there is the prospect has shown you how they really feel about you. And what do I mean by that? You're supposed to be the authority, the expert, the credible expert that will get the prospect to their desired outcome because you've done it a million times before for people just like them and you're good at getting results. And the prospect now has just said, so you guys know like there's like keywords you can't use, right? Like you guys aren't that fucking stupid basically. Like do you guys know what you're doing? Like there's keywords, I even know that. Do you guys know that? There's keywords you can't use or the ad account gets shut down. That thought should never even pop up in the prospect's mind because you should have shown the prospect that you're a true authority, you're a true expert and you know what you're doing. The prospect should just be like, well, obviously these guys know the keywords that can't be used. That right there is a really, really revealing moment. And it proves everything I was saying at the beginning when I was pausing every 2 seconds saying the saleswoman isn't showing any authority. She's not putting herself as like a high status individual. She's losing control, all this kind of stuff. What just happened right there shows and proves what I was saying. The prospect doesn't really trust the salesperson here, the saleswoman. She doesn't really trust it. She's like, you guys know that there's like keywords that shouldn't be used, right? She's like testing the waters to see how the saleswoman reacts. Terrible sign. Terrible, terrible, terrible sign. It means the prospect doesn't trust you.
My campaign doesn't get shut down. I've had that happen before in the past too.
Okay, no, we're not going to have that happen again. We do know all the keywords. So,
Okay.
as an example, slim shot, skinny shot, these are good ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And then as far as people who are following up on my leads, are they people who speak English without heavy accents, or where's your guys' call center located?
I hope so, because they're located in the US.
They are.
Not a good way to answer that. The prospect has a genuine concern. A genuine concern. She's like, I don't want people with heavy accents talking to my potential clients. I don't want that. I don't want that for my business. And the saleswoman is like, nah, yeah, I hope they won't have heavy accents. They shouldn't do. That doesn't show any confidence. Or like, you should know that. You're providing the service. You should know if the people making the phone calls to the prospects, if they're going to have a heavy accent or not. Surely, right? Because you've hired them and trained them and know who they are, right? Here, the saleswoman just seems like she's winging it. She's like, yeah, I hope they don't. Like, terrible way to answer that question. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have accent. No.
Okay. So, and probably just throughout the US, or is your company, where's your company based out of?
So we're actually based in both Switzerland and Texas, Houston.
Okay.
If someone ever asks you where your company is based out of, believe me, it's because they have doubts. They're like, wait a minute, where are these guys? These thoughts shouldn't even pop into the prospect's mind. I hope all of you have stuck through. This is like an hour long already, I think. I hope all of you have stuck through and are watching this right now, because this right here is proving everything I said at the beginning, that the prospect just doesn't trust and have any faith in saleswoman, because the saleswoman isn't coming across as like an authority figure or high status or an expert or all these kind of things. This is now proving everything I said.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
how do you feel about it? Is it positive or negative?
no, it's positive. I like that you guys have that guarantee. I feel like the pricing isn't, it's just like, obviously it's a big initial investment. And
if you ask someone, how do you feel, positive or negative? And they go, no, well, positive, but that's not positive. That's not confidence and conviction. That's not trust and faith. That's them just trying to be polite to you. And also, if someone says, no, I like the fact that you have a guarantee, it means that they're now seeing you as a commodity. Because they're like, okay, so there's your service. I don't really care about the ins and outs of your service or why you guys are so good. I just care about the fact that you have a guarantee. Now what the prospect will do is just compare you to all of the other agencies she's spoken to and compare that metric. Well, these guys, they give a guarantee for 60 clients. Wait, the other guys, it was 80 clients. I'll go with the other guys. Do you guys see the problem here? Do you guys see what happens when you don't pitch properly and you just rely on the fact that you have some sort of guarantee? You position yourself as a commodity, and then people can bargain with you, like trying to haggle you down on your pricing or guarantee or setup fee or whatever, or they're just going to compare you to someone else. Someone else may have a better guarantee on paper, and then they'll just choose someone else. And this is the result of not doing your sales process and not pitching correctly.
I just would hope that it would all pan out and work. Because I probably would, I mean, obviously it makes the most sense to go with the $4,900 one-time fee, and then $70 for each client that shows up. Okay.
It's really, I would say maybe like 60% go with plan number 2, but you get the same service. It's just some prefer the set monthly just to pay a bit less upfront, But no matter what I will say is, remember, this is a partnership. So we're not here for your $4,900 and then say bye-bye to you after.
a partnership. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, I'm sorry, everyone watching this. I'm sorry to the saleswoman that is allowing me to react to her call. Okay, I'm sorry if I offend anyone. But who's going to believe what you just said when your entire sales process is 24 minutes? No, it's a partnership. We're not here just for the setup fee. This is a partnership. We're going to work with each other forever. And you spend 25 minutes going from never speaking to this person ever to giving them your price and your offer and your guarantee. 25 minutes. But they're supposed to believe this is a lifetime partnership. We're not just going to take the setup fee. Come on now. Come on, please. I hope someone in the comments or someone watching this video understands me at this point, because maybe I'm coming across crazy. But you can't tell someone this is a partnership and you've taken 25 minutes to do the entire sales call. That's not going to sit right with people. I haven't even seen how the prospect is reacting to that. But I already know internally she's like, partnership? Like, I've just met this person.
For 2 months, it just doesn't make sense for us either. It's a lot of work for us for you to just go and say bye to us after a few months. So we really do want to have long-term partnerships. I hope you do as well, of course, because
Well, yeah, and of course the incentive for you guys would be after that, just that $70 per patient. So there's an incentive for you guys to keep trying to bring in new clients.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
we need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you able to send me your guys' contract outlining all of this that I can review and look over and think about?
Yes, of course. I'll send you a little recap with all the most important information and our presentation.
Okay, so here's the problem with sending information such as a recap. Here's the big problem. When someone has some information that they need to go over and use in order to make a decision, if they're unsure about any of the information or there's any information missing, they're either going to fill in the blanks themselves or answer the questions themselves, or go to someone, another source for an answer, or just choose an option which on paper is better. So here's what I mean literally in this context. The saleswoman will send her the information. The prospect will read over it. If the prospect is unsure about anything, now the prospect has to reach back out or email the question or whatever. And as we know, people are lazy and busy. So what the prospect will do is just keep those doubts and uncertainties internally, and then they'll be like, it doesn't feel like the right thing to do, and they won't choose your product or service. Or they'll go and Google something, or they'll go and try and look at your reviews to see, wait, are these guys reliable or not? And all this kind of stuff. They will take actions to try and solve the uncertainties based upon the information that you've sent them, because they're supposed to be using that information to make a pretty big decision. It's a $5,000 decision, right? For a small clinic, that's a lot of money. So what you really want, everyone watching this, okay, it doesn't actually matter what you sell, but what you really want to happen is, on the sales call itself, all the information is there. And then on the sales call itself, whilst the prospect is in front of you, they can look at it or just think about it, or they have their own notes and be like, wait a minute, Lucian, I'm not sure about this point right here. What does this point mean? And then you, the salesperson, can answer their question in the moment, make sure it makes sense to them, and give them complete clarity. So again, they'll be one step closer to making a well-informed decision that they're happy about. But when you just send the information, now it's like, it's in, who knows whose hands it's in? Like, because if they have a question, how are they going to get it answered? They're going to email you? Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. They get lazy, and then someone else will reach out to them, and then, they'll go with a different agency. So never do this. Make sure everything is crystal clear on the sales call itself. If it's not, make sure it is. Like, answer their questions, answer their doubts, answer their uncertainties.
And, some important stuff like that, you can go over it. And you should also have my number and email, so you can just text me if there's anything.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
If you have a big, long contract, what I want you guys to do is say, hey, I'm actually going to send you the contract right now. Have a look over it in your own time. I'm just going to grab a cup of coffee. I'll be back in literally 3 minutes. So the prospect's like, okay, fine. I'll look at the contract by myself on the phone. If you don't want to do it that way, you can say, yeah, I'm going to share the contract on the screen right now. I'll send you a copy of it as well, just in a second. But let's run through the contract together. Super important to do that again, because of all the rant I just went on, right? I'm not going to go on that rant again, but Please do that on the sales call itself, everyone. On the sales call itself, show the contract, show the terms, show the key bullet points, show whatever it is that someone needs to see to be able to make the decision.
So I have all that. Cool. Okay, and then the 60 clients in 90 days, that's utilizing the $4,500 a day ad spend.
Yes.
Okay.
Or more, whatever you want to do.
But with the $45 a day, that's guaranteed to bring in at least 60 clients in 90 days. Okay, because I've had it both ways too, where companies will say, oh, no, actually the 60 clients, that's if you had an ad spend of like $100 a day or something. So I just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. All right, well, this sounds great. It sounds like, and then are you able to send me some examples of some of your guys' advertisements so I can see the look and feel of some of the ads that are working great?
Yep, of course. I'll get all of that sent over in a presentation too. So
okay.
The look and feel of the ads, the prospect shouldn't care about that, but if they do, just show them on the screen. Oh, the look and feel. Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we make them custom however you want. Here's just a few examples, Mr. Prospect. Bang, 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 bang. Show them. Get it out of the way. Get it done. Get that thing off their mind. So again, they're one step closer to making a decision.
Do you guys service any med spas here in the Bay Area?
We do.
Or in California?
Yeah. So we have a cap of 4 med spas per state. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think any of them would be willing for me to contact them just to ask them, like, how is it going? Are you actually getting new clients?
This proves again what I was saying before. Guys, this video is over an hour, but prospect is like, can I call some other people to see if what you're telling me is true? The prospect should have confidence and conviction in your abilities to deliver them a great service. When someone starts saying, can I call your other clients to ask them? Believe me, you've done something wrong.
Anything like that?
They are. One thing I will say is we used to do references, share it out, but we don't do it anymore just because I have like 8 calls of these every day. Like everyone is asking that. But what I can do is I'll send you a bunch of different examples. If you need more, just let me know.
Why send them? Why not just show them?
And I'll also include some examples from California. I just can't put any clinic names on there, but maybe you can get an idea.
That's fine. Yeah. I'm always hesitant about those, like the reviews that are written, because I'm like, did the company just make those up? Are they really real?
Yeah, no, we have both videos and like real screenshots of ads that you can have a look at if you want to.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, if you can send me that, some examples of ads, and then your guys' contract for me to read over and study, that would be great.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's do it. What about we catch up sometime Monday or Tuesday? How does that work for you?
Sure, I could do Tuesday.
Okay.
So at least she's booking a follow-up call, which is good, but she hasn't framed the follow-up call. There's no leadership. There's no control here. It's the prospect that's taking control.
What about, maybe around the same time, actually. Let me see.
So here she's essentially just booking a follow-up call. Let's see. Skip forward a little bit.
I'll get something sent over to you. You have a good meeting. I see you're busy.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm just heading out. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Okay. Have an awesome weekend.
Okay, so that was a sales call. Obviously, it didn't close, and I'm pretty sure she didn't end up closing the prospect. Here's the key thing, okay? To the saleswoman that sent me this call, I'm being hard on you intentionally, okay? You're very good at what you do in your business. You guys have built a fantastic business, and you've gotten way better at sales. So that's good, okay? But here's the big problem. You're not taking any control of the sales call from the first moment. You're not positioning yourself as an authority or as a leader or as someone high status, which then when you combine that with the fact that you're really not pitching correctly, you're not pitching for clarity and confidence, you combine all those things together, the prospect just doesn't believe that you can deliver the results that you're promising. So that's why the prospect starts to say, well, you guys know that there's some keywords which you shouldn't use, right? Can I call your clients? Can I get some references? Can I see some ads or whatever? That's why all of that is happening. And also, you're not doing a proper discovery phase. You're doing like a 5-10 minute discovery phase. And then you get to the pitch and you can't make the pitch custom to the prospect. So again, all of these points together, the ultimate outcome is you have these kind of short sales calls, which probably frustrate you. And you're like, God, why doesn't this prospect just want to do it? It's because they don't trust you at the end of the day. They've been burnt before. And what you're showing them, what you're bringing to the table isn't necessarily any different. And you as well as an individual, they're not like, wow, this is the person. And I'll give you guys an important lesson. I learned this a long time ago and it served me very, very well. people don't buy the service, they buy the business. Or people don't buy the product or marketing thing, whatever, they buy the person. What I mean by that is it's way more important to be the kind of person that's impressive and trustworthy. When I used to sell my marketing services 2 or 3 years ago, when I had 0 testimonials and 0 case studies, or maybe 1 half-assed case study, I still closed a bunch of people for huge setup fees, huge retainers, and no guarantees. The reason I was able to do that is because people bought me. They didn't buy my product or service. They bought, you know what? I want Lucian to do this. I trust Lucian. And that's what you guys need to do. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.